Yeah, my classmates, two of my classmates have been fighting since 2014. So like once the conflict in the East started, they've been there. So they've been fighting for 10 years now. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy stuff. A lot of like some of my brother's friends got drafted. Yeah, this pretty hardcore stuff.
Welcome, listeners. That is Milana Naumenko. She's from the Ukraine. She still has family and friends in the Ukraine. Her dad's in the Ukraine. She is definitely the most resilient friend I have. She quit smoking cold turkey. She runs marathons. She's pretty amazing. We are obviously going to talk about the war, but we'll talk about lighter, happier times when we both owned and operated a music blog called I Am Not a Musician. We saw a lot of shows, a lot of amazing bands in probably music venues that aren't around today in New York. Okay, so let's just jump right in. Let's tell our listeners how you got here from the Ukraine.
Yeah, I have a pretty typical, I would say, like old school immigrant story. My mom moved here kind of in search of better life for herself and her family. I mean, my brother and I, because my parents got divorced when I was 10. Yeah, so she moved here, and then she brought me here, and then eventually she brought my brother here as well.
Okay, so how did your mum get here? Did she just like hop on a plane?
Yeah, pretty much. Hopped on a plane, visa, $50 in her pocket, and a nanny job lined up. So that's how she got here. Yeah. And then kind of overstayed her welcome and, you know, figured that part out later.
So how'd your mum meet Vince, your stepdad?
They met on a beach. Yeah, she was actually just going through a divorce, and his friend came up to her and said, "Hey, we're going out. Do you wanna, keep us company? Our friend, is looking for a date." And she was like, "Oh, I don't know." But I guess they took her into it. So yeah, that's pretty much how they met on the beach in
So
Jersey.
her nanny gig was in Jersey?
Yeah, at that time, before that, she lived in New York as well. I think Brooklyn and Manhattan.
This thought just came to my mind. I remember you telling me you learned English watching Sex in the City.
Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, that was like my favorite show in Ukraine. But then I moved here. I was like, wow, I'm gonna watch it, without the voiceover. And yeah, I learned a lot from, I mean, probably not the best way to speak English, but got me this far. Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, your English is great, Milana. So your dad is still in the Ukraine, right?
Yeah, my dad is still there. He comes visit about once every year, every 2 years, depends on what's going on. But yeah, he's still there. Born and raised, and probably will die there because yeah, he doesn't want to leave for longer than a month or two.
Where is he living? What region in the Ukraine?
So it's like the close to Kiev, about 2 hour drive, 2 hours drive from Kiev. So Kiev region. That's where I grew up as well. That's where all of my family is from on my mom's side and on my dad's side. It's a small town, so everyone knows everyone, and it's pretty comfortable living, I guess. It's a nice little town. I mean, now it's a bit different because a lot of people left. A lot of my friends left after the war started, so there's that. But yeah, still there. I haven't been back since 2017.
Is there much bombing going on
Well, in
there?
the beginning, there was because there are some military bases. They had some equipment, and also my hometown used to be a military base, so they did have some helicopters there as well. But like my town never got directly bombed, or anything. But I mean, you could see rockets flying,
Jesus.
to other places, like passing my hometown. Yeah, but luckily my town, for the most part, got spared.
Bet you know people on the front line.
Yeah, my classmates, two of my classmates have been fighting since 2014. So like once the conflict in the East started, they've been there. So they've been fighting for 10 years now.
Yeah, people listening right now probably can't comprehend that, you know. We're just so far removed from what's going on.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy stuff. A lot of like, some of my brother's friends got drafted. Yeah, this pretty hardcore stuff.
So, like, what's your perspective as a Ukrainian? How do you see this ending?
Well, I see it ending two ways, a good way and a bad way, I think. I think the bad way, we keep going, we keep fighting, and then Ukraine becomes something like Syria, you know, just a demolition zone and constant conflicts and maybe a lot of more internal conflicts as well, especially in certain regions like in the south and in the east.
Thankfully, Assad left Syria recently. I pray for peace there. I hope they can get it together and organically create, some kind of democracy. It's just horrifying, the news coming out there. Yeah, and Assad, where did he flee to? Moscow.
Yeah. And then the good way, I guess, was, and by good, I just mean with less human losses, it's negotiating peace. And that would come given Russia some of the territory they already took.
Yeah, Trump was talking about the Donbass region, right? Becoming like a demilitarized zone.
So basically the Ukraine as a country, like its territory would be different, right? We'll probably lose a few regions. But I think that's the most reasonable way to end it if you want to minimize human losses, because Russia has, I mean, obviously so many more people to throw in this war. And Ukraine, I think I read that an average age of a Ukrainian soldier is like 40 plus. And a lot of people left Ukraine and they're not coming back for that reason because they don't want to go to war. So we're kind of running out of people to fight. So yeah, I think if on the beginning of the war, I did not think that we could negotiate with Russia. Now I think it's the only way to end it. Yeah, because we can't keep going. And now like Ukraine is shooting inside of Russia, and Putin is threatening with nuclear attacks. So like, I mean, we can't have that. Like Russia is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, nuclear power in the country, in the world. Like there's only so much you can fuck with them. You know what I mean? Like yeah, obviously this war is like sponsored and prolonged by the US government and British government. That's not a secret for anyone, it's a great way to weaken Russia and to kind of fight Russia without directly fighting Russia. I mean, the EU people said that themselves. It's not even a conspiracy theory or anything. It's like out in the open.
Yeah, the Ukrainians are fighting, giving up their lives. And Europe and the Americans are, pushing money in there, guns, ammunition.
Yeah, supplying guns, and also like the longer they fight, obviously Russia is going to spend more in this war as well and lose more people. And the West doesn't need to lose any people. They just supply guns, and every time they supply guns, it's a fat contract for defense contractors. I mean, I'm sure if you look at like defense contractor stocks, they all been doing extremely well in the last 3-4 years. With the last 3 to 2 years, I would say, because of the war in Ukraine and now the war with Israel, Gaza, and now Lebanon. So yeah, it's money. It's a big money making
That's
opportunity for
just sick,
some
right?
people.
Making money off war.
Yeah, very sick. Yeah, just make money of people blowing up.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a hippie, but peace. I thought humans were beyond this now. I thought we evolved from war.
I think we need to negotiate peace. It's very unpopular opinion, I think, even inside Ukraine. But I think that's the only way to end it.
How's your dad doing? What's his
Yeah,
thoughts?
I mean, you have to understand, like, if we have pretty solid media propaganda here in the US and Ukraine, it's even worse, especially during wartime. Because during wartime, you don't even have to make an excuse for like arresting journalists who are not the megaphone for whatever the government thinks is correct. Like the whole expression, the first casualty of war is truth, is so on point. You know what I mean?
That is fucking profound. The first casualty of war is truth.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he wants the war to end as well. I just don't know if he sees sees it end in the same way I think it should end. Perhaps, I don't know, but that could change as well. I think after now we're coming on year 3 of this war. It's how you feel on day one is very different how you feel on 3 years into the war.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. How has your dad's life changed?
But I think there's definitely like I can't say that his life like dramatically changed. He still goes to work every day and he still goes out and travels a little bit. Obviously traveling is way more difficult because nothing flies out of Ukraine, so you gotta take the bus to Poland and then fly somewhere from Poland to another European city, and then if you want to go outside of Europe. So that been challenging, but also just like sirens every day still. So now for almost 3 years, shelter warnings, got gun shelter, and like those warnings have generally been ignored because I mean if you get them 3, 4, 5 times a day, no one is no one is running into those shelters that often.
Bloody
So
hell.
yeah, just that like eerie feeling of not being at peace, and obviously seeing some distractions when once he gets out of the hometown. If he goes to Kiev, he sees bombed places and stuff on the way and more military and all of that. So yeah, so it's like it changed a lot, but at the same time it didn't. Almost, some things changed so dramatically, but like day to day life is kind of he's still there going to work. Which is crazy because when you think of war, you think like everything stops and everything is so different. But just like looking at life of younger people in Ukraine on social media, like a lot of times it just looks like nothing changed for them. They still like go out a lot and go to shows, go to concerts, businesses are opening. It almost in certain parts of the country it feels very, very normal, and in others it feels insane. So it really, yeah, depends where you go.
Okay, yeah. Depends where you go, what tragic shit you're gonna see. I didn't realize Ukraine produces 25 to 23% of the world's grain.
I mean, we used to be called the breadbasket of Europe when we still were part of the USSR. But yeah, we still produce a lot of
That's a
grain.
huge percentage.
Yeah, it's like we could starve the world, I guess, if we could.
So, what does Putin want? He wants that land. He wants, to be able to control that grain. I mean, what does he
I
want?
mean, depends who you ask. I mean, I think it's really in the end of the day, it's like battle between world powers, the East and the West. So Russia wants more dominance in the world. They want some sort of security guarantees that like Ukraine won't be in the NATO. NATO weapons in the territory of Ukraine because it's like Russia's backyard. So that's what he says. But he also has a lot of like that very anti-Ukrainian rhetoric in terms of like, oh, Ukraine was never meant to be a country. It was always part of, should have been part of Russia. Like that language is not real language. So there's that too. Just kind of maybe wanting to grab all of Ukraine back under Russian influence, and
What
I don't
is the
know.
history of Ukraine? Like, what were you taught in school? I know your language is different from Russian. You can understand Russian, but you speak Ukrainian.
Yeah, the language is different. Well, yeah, Ukraine, like it's used to be kind of center of Slavic civilization on the beginning of it all. So like Kievan Rus, that's where a lot of Slavic languages and culture came from. And that's like directly in Ukraine, the capital of Ukraine. And then obviously the borders changed throughout the years. Part used to be part of Poland, part of Russia, shifted, what I mean? Um, which just like a lot of other countries, like you look at the US and, California used to be Mexico, Texas used to be Mexico. And then we had a war with Mexico, and Texas had war with Mexico. Now, a huge part of that is Texas. And No one is going to dispute that. So there's definitely a lot of like shifting of borders and whatnot. But Ukraine also like regionally depends where you are. Is you'll see that the language and customs are heavily influenced by the neighboring countries. So you go east, you'll have more, more of Russian influence, but then you go west, and it's a lot of Polish influence. And generally speaking, like Western Ukraine is more nationalistic, and that's where a lot of nationalistic movement happened back in the day. I went to school in post USSR environment, like several years after USSR um, was done existing, so to speak, and so I was kind of like the beginning of very pro-Ukrainian movement, I would say. So, all of my classes were in Ukrainian, whether for my brother, who is almost 6 years older, he still had a lot of Russian classes on the beginning of his school years. So, yeah, a lot of our class was kind of bringing back, a lot of our classes were bringing back, especially like in history, like Ukrainian traditions and dressing international outfits for the holidays and singing Ukrainian songs and like learning Ukrainian. Um, and then we don't really have any Russian classes, like we don't have Russian language, but we did have like international literature class, which included a lot of classic Russian books. So like Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, like we read a lot of that as well. But yeah, I would say like my schooling was very much pro-Ukrainian. Yeah, and we learned a lot about like Ukrainian history pre-USSR. Yeah, there's a huge emphasis on that, on like the origin of the country and the culture and the language. But for my mom, that was completely different because during the USSR, you couldn't speak the language. You were not taught in Ukrainian. Like all of the TV. I mean, I saw the transition from like everything being in Russian on TV and the radio to everything becoming Ukrainian slowly, or at least the majority of it. Yeah.
Okay, for our listeners, like what year are you talking about?
So I mean, USSR was over in like 1991, if memory serves. So like I'm talking 1995. Like it was like significantly different. But I mean, as far as I know, Ukraine up until recently had two official languages in the country, Russian and Ukrainian. I'm not sure if that changed with the war or if it changed prior, but yeah, we used to have two official languages. So like, again, from the region where I am from, the languages were always interchangeable. You always throughout your day you'll meet people who spoke both, either or. I could speak both. I still speak both. Some people only spoke one. You go to Kiev, a lot of people only speak Russian. Like my mom has a bunch of college friends who still only speak Russian. Really, they can speak Ukrainian. They know it. They can read in it. They obviously watch TV. They listen and read in it. But their preferred language is Russian. So yeah, that's the little bit of history and linguistic situation.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar to, Welsh and English. There are some people North Wales who only speak Welsh. They do know English, probably, most likely, but they prefer to speak Welsh. Yeah, I just, casually speak to neighbors around here in Virginia, Richmond. And, they say, well, wasn't Ukraine part of Russia anyway?
This conflict is definitely complex, and I think a lot of people who think they fully understand it don't fully understand, because if I'm honest, like I don't fully understand it, parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely complex for sure. I mean, it's all over the world. I spent some time in New Orleans. That was like the Spanish owned it, the French owned it, and went back and forth a few times.
Well, yeah, if you look at USSR, of course, but then like so were many other countries. Russia is not trying to get those back, right? I think like if you're gonna try to look at the world and like the historic lines of what used to be what, like we'll never come to any reasonable conclusion, or like we have to fight with each other for the rest of our days because like the borders.
It's just nuts, isn't it? It's like a game of no, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, you're wrong. I'm right.
Yeah, like the borders changed so much, and yeah, there were so many wars, so like even regional conflicts, even in the US, like you can't, you can like try to dispute that and look at like historic borders. That will not be feasible.
Oh, it's just tragic. It's just like meaningless loss of life, you know?
Yeah, lives, money, but mostly lives. Yeah. Yeah, and so many lives are also being just uprooted, like some of my classmates had to leave the country with their children, and they're now at this point, they're like, well, we're not coming back because now they build their life somewhere else. And if you have young kids, they're so adaptable that they're like, oh, like my friend, she's in Germany with two of her two kids, and they're like 7 and 4. She's like, they speak fluent German now. They love the school. They made friends. She's like, I'm not going back. You know what I mean? But her husband is back in Ukraine because he can't leave
That's just horrifying. Imagine you have to fight in this war.
because he's that age where they won't let you out. So it's kind of like, yeah, so many lives have been uprooted, and some came back, some never coming back. Some might come back one day. Yeah, who knows? Ukraine is going to be a different place once this is over. It is over now, but now it's still actively fighting. But I think once it's over, hopefully soon. But who knows? I think it's going to be a very different country for sure.
Thank you so much for talking about this with us. I hope the listeners, get a different taste. You're not a journalist. It hits differently. You're talking about your friends and your family. Okay, let's talk about New York. We cannot solve this problem. It's just bloody depressing. Let's switch it up and talk about how we met in New York.
Let's move on to fun things. Yeah. We both worked a dead end job.
Yeah, it was like a digital sweatshop for me. Yeah, let's not name it.
Yeah,
though.
we can't name. It was a job. Paid some bills.
Yeah, the owners were characters. Whoa, I can swear they took it to another level.
Yeah, they were characters for sure.
Yeah. Even like next door, the office next door, the people would complain like
Yeah.
when I was in the lift.
They built some of my character for sure. I was like 23, naive, out of college. But yeah, you came up to me. I was like at the desk, front desk. I was at the front desk back then.
Living the dream, baby.
Like, hi, I'm Lucy. I was like, oh, she's friendly. And yeah, then we just went out. I think you invited me for like a dance show, dance
Oh
performance.
yeah, shout out to Ildiko, our modern dance friend. Yeah, the Bill Young Studios. There was some great parties there.
Yeah. So that's our first outing. And then we went to Groove Armada.
Yeah, Groove Armada, easily in the top 10 of best live performances I've seen in New York for sure. Yeah, they're my Oxford mates. They're from Oxford. Andy Cato, the lead kind of guy for Groove Armada, he's into regenerative farming. Yeah, he was on Jeremy Clarkson's farm. I don't know if any of you listeners watch that. Highly recommend. Bloody good show. I mean, you learn so much about farming in a funny way, in a relatable way for people who know nothing like me.
That was cool. And then I don't remember. We just kind of like started hanging out, I think. Like organic.
Yeah, we started a music blog. You could go out every bloody night in New York and see live bands.
Yeah. That was a few years into our friendship, I think. Yeah, you could go every night, which we did. I mean, not every night, but we went to a lot of shows for sure. There were like months where I feel like we went to a show like almost every week.
Yeah, sometimes more.
Or more. Yeah, some weeks were like when they had that festival, the North Side or whatever it was called.
Yeah, Northside Festival. We had press passes for that. It was a lot of shows. Boom, boom, boom.
5 shows a night, just like jump.
Yeah, we had press passes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you got we had the music blog and we talked to some bands. That was cool.
Yeah, I had like a live on air interview with Amazing Radio, chatting about Northside Festival and totally mispronounced your last name. I think I said Naumenko.
Yeah, I remember that. It's okay. At some point, a lot of bands started sounding the same to me. Like a lot of local bands, like smaller, when they're trying to find like new talent, so to speak. I was like, you guys all kind of sound the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But we really loved the Kills. I know they had a unique sound. Alison Mosshart and Jamie Hintz.
Yeah, yeah, we saw them multiple times. We saw them like for free on like Hudson River venue, and then I mean I saw them before that in Terminal 5, and then we saw them at Brooklyn Steel. Yeah, New York, well, I don't know how it is now, but like back then it was so good for live music.
Yeah, the Bowery Ballroom, Williamsburg Music Hall. Those are my faves.
Yeah, I remember like while we still were there, they were closing a bunch of like indie venues like the Glasslands and Death by Audio.
Glasslands was cool. You'd buy a beer and they'd just like reach into a cooler, and then it had like this little platform. You could walk up these dodgy stairs. Like it only fit about 10 people
There was that
max.
other one. It was like the most dodgy venue. I took a friend there and she was like legitimately a little afraid for her life.
What? What was that? There was a couple of like places you're up on the balcony. You're like, oh, is this safe? Is this gonna crumble?
There was like no AC and it was July and we went to see Death Heaven, which is this like post-metal band. Oh man, it was like on Kent Avenue, very close to, I think it was called something Kent, like a number. It was like the address of the venue, 75 Kent maybe. Damn, I'm gonna have to go and
I
find.
think it was 50, Kent.
But yeah, those are like legitimately unique venues. Unique in a way that like you go, you don't know what to expect. The bands are like different, up and coming, and the experience is it's good. But yeah, I think they're all gone.
Yeah, my favorite story is telling people I saw Adele. There was like 10 people in the audience. I think it was the upper west side of Manhattan. And yeah, one of the 10 people was a mum in the audience.
Damn, that's before she was Adele. Yeah, you get to see stuff like that in New York. That's not a lot of places have that to offer, you know.
Yeah, all those indie venues. I mean, I don't, how are they going to pay rent, Yeah, I was chatting to Lizette. She said it's just getting all homogenized now, and a lot of those places are gone. Even like mom and pop restaurants, stores, like gone. No one can afford it. There was like an art scene in Dumbo, and now Dumbo's all bougie, and artists have to move out of Dumbo now. They can't afford
Well,
it.
that's what happened with Williamsburg. It's like Williamsburg got pushed out to Bushwick and then Ridgewood. And I think I always laugh that like I think soon enough we only will be able to afford like Far Rockaway. That's like how far out, like almost into the ocean. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the last bit of New York that people could afford. Yeah. It's probably like a good community of artists and musicians in Far Rockaway now. Maybe I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna look into that. I'm curious. But yeah, it was definitely getting crazy, expensive, and you either gotta get out or you gotta have a lot of money to like have a good life in New York City. It's definitely a good place to spend some time as an adult, as a young adult.
Yeah, I think we definitely took advantage of everything New York had to offer in our single days. The shows, the live music. I'm going to do like a collage of all the tickets I have, all the shows I've seen. That'll be cool.
You got some tickets. I used to keep some that like the paper ones when they still send out paper tickets, like on Ticketmaster and Live Nation and stuff. But then I just got rid of all of them. But it's like definitely some very epic bands.
Yeah, I miss the actual tickets. Now it's all digital. It's not the
Yeah.
same.
I guess you can print it and cut it out.
Lame. What happened to the Rodriguez brothers? You were all over them, wrote a load of reviews. You were all over them.
Oh, the Zax Marquis.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're no longer a band.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, they did that for a while. I think they had like 2 or 3 albums and then they split up and now they playing with like the Bosnian Rainbows. No, not Bosnian Rainbows are no longer a band. The Terry Gender Bender. So like one of the brothers playing with Terry Gender Bender and the other one is playing with Mars Volta. Because Mars Volta got back together. And like I think he's for Mars Volta. At least when I saw Mars Volta in October 2 years ago, that was the case.
I remember Lizette and I giving you shit about wanted to touch his beautiful afro. We were like, nah, don't do it, Milana.
Oh yeah, his brother, yeah, his brother. Not Amar, his brother, yeah.
What's his name?
Oh man, see, I don't remember.
Omar? No.
No,
Did it
that's
begin
the
with an
lead singer of
M?
the Mars Volta. There's Omar, Marcel, and
Started with
Omar.
an
I
M.
forget. Wow,
Malfred.
Marfred, Marfred.
Who did we see when I was like heavily pregnant in a mosh pit and I like texted
At the
you?
drive-in?
Yeah, maybe it was at the drive in. I was just like, whoa, these days are over.
No, that was different. At the drive-in, I saw Alone after you moved.
Okay.
That was Anti-Mask. That was like another project by Cedric and Omar.
There's so
Yeah,
many.
yeah. Yeah, we saw every project they've ever had, I've seen, I think. Like at the drive-in after they reunited, that was Terminal 5. And then the Mars Volta I saw in LA 2 years ago. Palladium, Hollywood Palladium.
Yeah, you texted me. You're like, I think I just had to step over some human shit.
That was cool. And then yeah, we saw them in New York with like Bosnian Rainbows and yeah, all the projects they've ever did. We're like, we're gonna go see you guys. And it's like four brothers, so they have a lot of projects and they're all musicians. So we definitely like
Yeah, they're all from Texas somewhere, right? You're living in Austin now. Are they in Austin?
some of them, yeah. But like El Paso.
El Paso. Imagine it to be really deserty. You ever been there?
Once, yeah. It's like it's different. It's on the border with Mexico. Like you can see the border like while you're there. Like it's a border town and so it's like predominantly Mexican and Hispanic. So a lot of that culture. There's like a university. Yeah, it's a cool city. I liked it. It was kind of like gave me a bit of LA vibe, but definitely not as much going on as in LA. It's nice. And it's also on the border with New Mexico, so you can just drive over for like 20 minutes and you are in La Cruces. But I was looking at like music events in El Paso when we went. I could not find anything reasonable. So I don't think there's like a music scene there. I think that's like where the band is from, but they're like literally the only band that made it out of El Paso. You know what I mean?
Not much of a scene in El Paso then. What have you got coming up? You seen any bands soon ish?
I'm going to see Interpol, and that's like the ultimate New York band, so I'm excited.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we've seen them in New York.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen them many times. Yeah. They're playing some outdoor venue in Austin, so that'd be cool.
Probably not for our listeners, but whenever I hear Interpol, I think of immigration because I was trapped in immigration for a good 8 hours. International Criminal Police Organization. Apparently,
Yeah.
someone else was traveling on the same passport number as me, and I would just come off a flight back from the UK, just wanted to get home, and yeah, I was there a good 8 hours.
Maybe you are on the Interpol watch list or something now.
I hope not. Hasn't happened again though, so that's good.
Yeah. No, I like Interpol. I saw Interpol live for the first time. There was this event called the Creators Project in New York. That's like another reason I love New York. There's all these random events that you can go to. It's like, oh, like there'd be bands and drinks and interactive art and wherever. But yeah, they played on like a loading dock. And I've never heard of them before. It was like at Milk Studios, like down in the meatpacking.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Milk Studios is a famous commercial photography house. All the big names shoot their baby.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's where it took place. And they had like a lot of interactive exhibits and and there's other band that played, I forget their name. And then Interpol came on. I was like, oh, I really like this band. And that's pretty much how I discovered them. And I guess that's before they were bigger. I don't know. And yeah, then I just saw them at least three, four, five times after that.
I remember seeing Death Grips with you. You convinced me to go.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was Williamsburg Music Hall.
Yeah, that was early on in their career. I'm glad you convinced me to go. That was just amazing. The lights were just flashing the whole time. We were up on the balcony. You could see the whole crowd.
Yeah.
It was like a spiritual experience, and I've never seen like such a diverse audience.
Yeah, for sure. That's usually Death Grips. I went last time I saw them was in Brooklyn Steel. Same as the demographics. It was like everyone. There was this one couple, older couple that brought their like teenage son. Because I guess like you can go by yourself until a certain age. So I thought that was so sweet to like bring your kid to this to see this crazy band, you know what I mean? They were definitely not into it, but I saw them, I was like, wow, this is cool. I would bring my kid to any show. I mean, shows.
Oh, that's cool when you can take your kid to a concert. Yeah, we've taken our daughter to two concerts now. It's going to be a third
That's
coming
amazing.
up.
I'm glad people like still go to shows. It's still people are still touring, like because after COVID, I wasn't sure like what's gonna happen. A lot of, touring stopped and a lot of these venues went out of business. But I'm glad that like live music is alive and well.
Yeah, live music's not going anywhere. That's like religion to me. That's like going to church to me. Yeah, after COVID though, definitely the ticket prices went up. Definitely went up like crazy. I don't know if that's because of Ticketmaster and the price gouging the third parties, StubHub and all that. Not sure what's going on there.
Yeah,
Our last concert in New York before we moved, we saw London Grammar, and it was fantastic. That was in that new venue at the time, Brooklyn Steel. It was great. Hannah Reid's got an amazing voice. She's stunning.
that's great. Yeah, I've seen a couple of gigs since we moved here. I saw Nick Cave, and then I saw the Smile, Tom York's latest project.
The Smile, absolutely amazing. Yeah, I tried to get tickets here. It was like 250, then it went up to 3. I was
Yeah,
like, I can't do
expensive.
it.
Yeah, tickets definitely are more expensive right now.
Yeah, you saw Red Hot Chili Peppers, right?
Yeah, they were headlining that night. Yeah, that was good. Definitely felt a little old.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, you get so much, yeah, young crowd. It's like,
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers are cool. Great songwriting for sure.
oh yeah, yeah, it was good. It was crazy. Yeah, those
Turned
are
out
like
to be a
classic.
really expensive night for you, though.
Oh yeah, had to fly my mom in to watch the kid, and
And then you lost your phone, didn't you?
it was my brand new phone. Had to pay for parking, got a bunch of drinks. It's like once a year big night out. Can't really do more than that. Yeah,
Well, Milana's yawning. She's got a little baby girl. You got a son too, but the baby girl, is she sleeping much?
she's been like once a night wake up, so not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But the big problem is I wake up early. It's
Yeah,
like
because you're an animal. You like to work out, prepare for your
work
marathon.
out and stuff. Yeah, if I slept till she sleeps, then I'll probably get another 2 hours of sleep. But it will. Yeah, she'll get there.
You don't get it until you have kids, is the lack of sleep for probably 4 or 5 years. And, all the late night outs in New York will not prepare you for this kind of lack of sleep.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about it, but like until you experience it, you don't really know how bad it gets. I think what helped me is like with both of my kids being an early person, very early morning person. So I've been waking up at like 5:30 for the last 10 years, pretty much daily. So for me, if like I have to start my day at 5, I feel okay. That's like normal for me. But of course, like if I sleep 9 to 5, that's good. But like if I up 3 times between 9 and 5, and then I have to start my day at 5, it's like, oh, okay, like that's
Yeah,
that's
that's game
hardcore.
over.
Yeah.
Okay, I ask all my guests this question. What are you listening to now? What is moving you? Talk to me.
Oh, I've been heavy on that last Fontaines DC album for sure.
Yes, Fontaines DC. I want to thank you for introducing me to them. My husband and I, we went to DC, saw them at the 9:30 Club for our anniversary, and oh, they did not disappoint. So good, so good.
Definitely like a very exciting band. Like every album is better and better so far. And I think they had like 3 or 4. I think 3. Been listening to the latest Nick Cave album too. That one is good. Some kid songs in the car sometimes. But yeah, no, Fontaines DC, Nick Cave. I did my share of the Smile when those albums came out. They had like 2 in the last couple of years, I
I
think.
think I'm more familiar with Nick Cave's artwork than his music. In New Orleans, I saw these amazing masks he created. They were pretty
I
cool.
think he's actually going to tour this new album soon in the US. I might go see him again. I'll see if he's playing in Austin, and how the tickets are, but yeah, it's very good. It's a very good emotional, very spiritual experience for sure. I also been listening to the Beth Gibbons' last album. She released a new like a solo record, so she's the front woman Portishead.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you so much for your time, Milana. I really appreciate you doing this with me. You gotta come back on the show. The show. Love you, girl. Stay strong, sister.
All right, love you. Talk to you soon.
This